Those people who thought they were the shit at rain dancing must have been so funny.
They must have like hit it once or twice and then just been like, I'm not doing it again. I can't do it. Like every 10 years they'd hit one. Dude, if you hit a rain dance, you'd be the fucking man.
It's over, dude. It's over. Well, there was another book talking about that and how like God evolved, where there'd be like people who would do that and then they'd be like, "Yep, this guy's in charge of everything," and then he'd do it again, it didn't work, and he'd be like, "Which one of you guys did something fucked up?" And they're all like, "Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh, I did something fucked up. Ah, he knows."
It's like in Apocalypto when there's the eclipse. Did you see Apocalypto?
No, I want to see that.
He's an Aztec.
I almost lied and
or
said
a Mayan.
yes.
Yeah,
I always do that.
I always do that
yes.
shit. And it's like, you know the part where that happens? And it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that part. And I'm always such a psycho that in my mind I'm like, maybe they're just making that up to try to trap me. I'm that much of a fucking psycho. But in Apocalypto, they're doing the Aztec thing where they're ripping people's fucking hearts out and cutting their heads off the top of pyramids, which they did at an astounding rate.
Yeah.
Like lines would be miles long. This is a bad rain dance.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was a real bad rain dance. And the worst fucking rain dance possible.
Exactly. Explicitly trying to
But then
control.
there's just a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse while he's about to get his heart ripped out, and they're all just like, whoa, the sun god has had its fill of blood. Let this guy go. Fuck yeah. But it's just,
that's awesome, man.
It's funny that just a freak occurrence happened and he was
Well, dude,
get his head cut off.
That's crazy to think of people who were in that time. And then I always think about this when like 500 years they're going to look at us and be like, those fucking idiots. Like when it changed from 1998 to like 2005, 2010, I remember thinking like, damn, I live in the fucking tens now, dude. This sucks. I was like, I'm just like some shitty fucking dude in the tens.
Yeah.
To where like I look back on 1910, I'm like, idiot, fucking moron.
I think of that all the time.
Now I'm like, fuck, man. I'm in the fucking tens, dude. I was on the end of it. Now I'm
You're
just
at
like
the end of the sickest century.
shitting in my fucking hat, dude. I'm like, this sucks.
That's all right. You'll die in the 50s, which is sick. Hopefully there's another civil rights. Hopefully the 2050s includes...
2050 is going to be fucking the size 42 dungaree march, dude. They're going to be like, stop holding me down.
They're going to be fire hosing white dudes.
They probably will.
I'm going to deliver the I Have a Dream.
Are you really?
Yeah. I'm going to be like, I have a dream.
Just Alex Jones voice.
I'm sick of seeing black movies. I'm sick of seeing ESPN do blackface every day. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, dude, that's like...
But yeah, that's
hilarious.
And your parents are fucking every day in front of you. You're just sitting there.
And some guy's like, yo, you want to go fucking and get gold?
You want to go build a fort in Virginia?
That is, when people talk about 400 years ago, it's the most annoying thing. It's like acting like they actually crashed. He was like saying how like Columbus like was thought he was in Japan. He's like, and he hit the Bahamas, and it's like, dude, of course you hit the fucking Bahamas, man. What would you have done? I hate when people get all high and mighty about that shit. And to think about, like, you come here, you don't even know this landmass exists, and now you see different people for the first time, and it's like, and they just treat it, and it's like, dude, you're in like a fucking video game.
Yeah.
They got like sharp sticks, and you're like, yo, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. And they start getting loud, and you're like, all right, I'm busting out a musket, dude. I don't even know you guys. I hate that when they're just like, and then they do this fantasy of gold, and they ruin these people, and it's like... that stance on history.
You know what else is weird about
off.
that is Columbus wrote in his journal that these people would make fine slaves when he landed. Mm-hmm. That was just in his journal.
Yeah, that's his personal thoughts, bro.
I mean, of course he ended up cutting people's ears off and shit and genociding, but
that was his first impression. Like, these would be good slaves.
These would be pretty good slaves.
So,
he just kept it. He was like,
well, that's
just kept it to himself.
That's his own personal
That's
thought.
1492.
I mean, if you check my journal, dude, there's a couple. I've seen people before. I'm like, you know what?
That's a fine slave, dude. That would be a great slave. I don't want to get too racist. I'm not going to name good slaves.
Yeah, but it's like,
who do you think the best slave possibly would be?
I'm saying, man, you go over there and you discover Native Americans for the first time, and they're fucking running all fast, bare feet. You're like, damn, bro.
Yeah, that's a good slave, dude.
Give that motherfucker a wheelbarrow, bro. Yeah. That guy would fly.
Tie some stones to his back, let him run around.
Give that guy, like, you see guys with fucking, they had tomahawks.
Yeah.
They're fucking chopping down trees for arrows. You're like, put him on a fucking apple orchard. This motherfucker would be picking, he'd be killing it. I just hate when people put a modern mentality on the 1600s. It's like, dude, you have no fucking idea.
Yeah, of course. I gotta let you read that book, dude.
What
War on the Run, dude.
What's that about?
It's about. I read it a while ago, and then I started reading it again. It's about Robert Rogers. He was like the first Army Ranger. Mm-hmm. He was like the precursor to Special Forces in modern military, awesome. And he lived in pre-French and Indian War America in like Vermont, New England, and I've talked about it a bunch of times on his.
What's he do? What's
the
his
savages would come in and kill everybody in his town.
Oh, didn't he take up with the savages?
Then he kind of took up with the savages. Like he was raised alongside a tribe with his town.
Yeah.
So he
studied
he knew
their
the
moves.
land. He knew the land, and he knew modern war was going to be different than standing in line. So he formed kind of like a special forces where they could travel long distances.
So he's the reason our
Small
Navy
parties.
SEALs are so sneaky, basically.
They still study his maneuvers to this day.
Dude. That's tight.
Yeah, but the first couple of chapters are all about like landing in America.
And it's being like,
And, like,
holy shit.
His family and another family, they're Scots Irish, and they're like, we can try to make our own outside of this village. Let's try to. They formed clans. They joined families with another family and bought like 600 acres for like 11 pounds
In America?
Yeah,
Who'd they buy it off?
it was British.
Whatever bull was chilling.
Yeah, but then it was kind of like you said, like they would let the white trash kind of be a buffer.
Yeah.
So his family was a white trash buffer,
And they'd be like, go ahead, bro.
and they're like, you can have that land if you can settle it.
Damn.
And then up until Thomas Jefferson, nobody had really gone west of, like America hadn't really expanded at all.
Where'd TJ go?
The Louisiana Purchase,
That was TJ.
he got all that shit, yeah.
Like
And
to see a
he
couple
led.
pages of his. I like to see a couple pages of his journal, dude.
He led. He was the one who founded the Lewis and Clark expedition.
Yeah.
So the first two presidents were just like, we don't even know about the Pacific Ocean. They're like, we're not going over there.
Well, that was the other thing.
We're not heading over there.
They were saying that
Probably knew about it.
He was like kind of like scoffing at the fact that like when they got there, the Native Americans were like, there's like a big sea if you go like 7 days walk from here. And dude, the language barrier is unimaginable. And they're like, and this guy actually thought like the South Indian Ocean was like 7 days away. And it's like, dude, fuck you. Let me drop you off in the woods, dude, on a state game. See how you make it out. Someone's like, yo, it's that way. You'd be like, thank you.
Let's drop you off in Strawberry Mansion, dude.
Yeah, I just
if you get out of that
chaps my ass
without getting burnt at the stake.
That's the ultimate armchair quarterback to be like, and he crashed into the little wrong landmass on his sailboat.
Looking at history,
yeah, just being like, clearly these guys are. He was saying like the people who weren't suckers stayed in England. And it's like, yeah, it's more than being a sucker, dude. It's like these people were poor as fuck.
Yeah,
and they didn't have any other choice really, and a lot of them were indentured servants too. So it's like. Yeah, it's a bullshit,
like a
bullshit thesis, and I've had people tell me like, "Oh, this is really good," and I'm reading it. And I'm like, I can't fuck with this guy, dude.
You know what? It's a weird thing that I've always been bothered by is like in this country, if you want, like everybody always prefaces things like this is America, and in America we love an underdog, or like in America we love it. It's like first of all, everyone loves a fucking underdog, and stop talking about this country.
Yeah.
As though you've traveled the world.
I know.
It always bothers me when people are like, this is a racist country.
Oh, dude.
Like, have you traveled, dude? Why don't you ask Sudan if they're racist?
Have you gone anywhere, dude? Have you even read to find out, like, it? That's the other thing, too. And they're like, this country's founded on racism. And it's like, dude, read about them. Like, there's been so many other genocides all over the world for the same thing. Have been like, yeah, you guys are the other guy. Fuck you guys. That's so fucking annoying.
We're spinning our wheels.
This country's founded on white supremacy.
Like,
so that's like, you see people in Western PA, their grandfathers fucked up some Indians, dude. Not long ago either, dude. I'm talking like 1920.
No, more than that.
Whatever. 1800s.
Yeah.
Went and bucked up some Indians, dude.
It was longer than that in PA.
Whatever
PA
it was.
got settled a long time ago.
But that was the boys who came in. They were just buffering them around. Whenever Indians were like in Ohio.
You got to clear out some Indians, though.
You got to
clear out.
Yeah, but you got to use the absolute. People were doing the do back
I'm
then.
Gonna say this.
That was a Mountain Dew commercial back then.
Of all the horrific genocides in human history, I can handle the Native Americans getting brushed off the land.
You like that one?
I'm all right with that one.
Okay.
Bunch of dudes with Mountain Dew coming up and be like, get these fucking pieces of shit off this land.
That must have been wild, dude.
Well, it's funny. It's such a weird double standard to have. I mean, I get it if you are like, I can't believe America did this.
Yeah.
If you don't know history at all.
Well,
and you think America is such a nice, it's like you can't have a nice empire.
Yeah, well, you don't meet Turks and be like, evil bastard.
No, of course not.
They genocided the Armenians.
Yeah,
that's the show, The Young Turks.
Every country.
Yeah, that's true.
Every country genocided somebody.
It's true.
Like, and another thing with the Indians is like, how do you think they got that land?
Yeah.
They genocided some other fucking tribe.
They definitely did.
They were at war with each other constantly.
Forever, dude. It's always been that way.
And they weren't like sophisticated, nice people.
Yeah.
I've done this like so many times.
But no, it is
just, it's such a funny, like if you look at history at all, and if you look at history with like rose glasses, where you're like, America's this beautiful place, it's like, obviously you're wrong.
Yeah.
So when people bring up like the atrocities committed against Native Americans, it's like, yeah, I mean, this is shocking. When I was in 7th grade, I'm an adult now.
In 7th grade, they fed me the cornucopia story where like they split a turkey and they're like, "Hey, let's teach you some skills."
And then later you find out it's like, "Oh shit,
You're
we
like,
killed all those guys."
And then after for dessert, dude, they were like,
"Yeah, you want some Mountain Dew? It's got smallpox." That's how they actually killed them.
Gave him some
they gave him some Code Red, and the natives were like, died.
They didn't have an Xbox anywhere. And they're like, "I don't know what the fuck to do."
But yeah, it's funny to think about, like, people just showed up and were like, "This is pretty nice land."
Well, dude, when you read that
Who
book,
the fuck are these idiots? Get them out of here.
When you read White Trash, it was like the English government was just rounding up the poorest of fucking shitty, like literally taking orphans.
Do you have that in hard copy?
No.
God
yeah,
damn
my
it.
brother has that. Yeah, my
All
brother
right,
has.
good.
That's great.
I need one.
Dude, that's great. So they would round up orphans and then just put them on a boat and be like, over. So like you'd have these people who were just like absolute mud kickers, dude, landed in America. And then they're just like, all right, I guess I'm here now. Arrow goes through your wife's neck and they rape 30 people. And you're, who the fuck are these guys?
You gotta find
and
them.
that's what happened, dude. That's the Thomas Sowell guy talks about this. And it makes a lot of sense when people talk about slavery, whether you're dealing with slavery in the abstract or you were living during that time. When people are like, they get mad at Lincoln being like, well, when he freed the slaves, he was kind of cold and calculated. He should have been more moralistic about it. And it's like, you can say that now, but it's like if you were the president, imagine if you were the president back then. Like these people there was millions of slaves in the South. So they were really worried about like, if you free them, are they going to come fuck you up and kill you?
Yeah.
Like the Thomas Jefferson has a famous quote of being like, "You had the wolf by the ears, dude." He's like, "What do? Do you fucking let it go?" He's they got some guy wrote a love story between him and his like teenage slave, and it got a lot of negative press, dude.
Yeah, I bet
they got a lot of negative press.
Well, I bet they were eating some pizza too.
They're like, he's a
slaves.
rapist and blah blah blah, and the guy wrote the story like a love story basically. And that's
you brought up an interesting point when we were talking about this book earlier about how I keep wanting to say Sowell, Thomas
Sowell, yeah. It's Sowell,
yeah. How he talked about how like they also the Western Europeans also abolished slavery.
They did.
Like
no one talks about that.
This is an institution that it built the pyramids.
Yeah.
This is an institution that's been around since as long as humans were even remotely civilized.
Yeah.
They've had caste systems and slavery, and then it led up in human history. It took the great white man to say, "Knock it off."
It was the English, dude.
Yeah.
Even the French were like, "Nah, slavery's still chill," and then they finally folded. Yeah, dude.
I think it was like the Portuguese were the last ones.
Yep.
I think in Brazil it was still going.
Yep. But then there was
the US and Brazil.
There was the Arabs in Asia, man, and they were still rocking in the free world.
Still going.
They got stamped out hard though, and then they would fly French flags, and the British government wasted millions of pounds on abolishing slavery worldwide. So it's
How
like,
about
yeah,
that?
I
What do you
know.
think of that?
They were the biggest slave exporter too. That's like, dude,
While they also kind of enslaved the Irish people.
That's true too.
The Irish were slaves
dude,
too.
that
should be the name of our podcast.
The Irish slaves.
The Irish were slaves. Just thinking.
But
in my
it's
head.
annoying because if you point out, like you were saying, the fact that, like, yeah, well, white people did end. That's the guy Sowell being like, no one talks about the fact that it was Western Europeans stopped slavery globally.
Yeah,
and it's like,
it's a pretty good
but
thing.
to say that is like, how dare you?
Why would you say that?
It's like, hey, we were bad boys and we were good boys, dude.
Yeah,
everybody was bad boys.
If you want to break it down like a psycho into races and geography, of all the areas in the world that were bad boys throughout human history, which they all were.
Yeah.
The one that was like, we should knock this off is the fucking British, wasn't it?
Yeah. But that goes on, dude. That's at any time. Like it happened with
I'm just back to thinking about white trash kicking Indians off the land. It's making me laugh because I'm just thinking everybody looked like my cousin Frankie.
Well, it's funny that everyone thinks like quote unquote white people were just like a race of like just pure conquistadors who came over here and like, shoo, you fucking beast. And it was just this guy being like looking through one eye and like, what the hell's that?
Yeah, it was like in The Revenant. It was like Tom Hardy in The Revenant. It was like this balding, like flea infested dipshit.
Yeah.
Fighting a shirtless fucking Indian.
I mean, dude, it's really like, did you ever, when you were little, trap like two bugs under a glass and watch them fight?
Yeah.
Pretty much what it's like, dude. You're like a spider and a bee, and you're just like, there you go.
The British captured two retards, put them in a jar, and was like, whoever wins, we're going to take over.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking wild. Came in, started.
Let's talk slaves.
You want to talk slaves?
We already covered gay bullshit. Let's cover some slavery.
What you want to talk about?
What do you think of slaves, dude?
Not for me.
Not for me either.
Not for me, dude.
Couldn't agree
I don't
more.
want. I don't want them.
I would hate
That would be awkward as fuck if just someone showed up at your house with a slave and you'd be like, dude, what the fuck? You can't have a fucking slave. Like, get out of here, dude. You can't have a slave in here. It's like, oh, come on, dude. What the fuck? I'll be so uptight. Like, dude, you can't have
like a southern dude bringing a slave to
Just
like
someone came.
Like during the I bet that had to have happened.
Oh, no doubt.
In like the Civil War time, like right when the North was like abolitionists, no more slavery.
There's still people who are just like, fuck it, you can't tell me not to have a slave. And they had a couple,
yeah,
they had like
yeah.
a little head stash. They're like,
Yeah.
they got a couple fucking kicking around.
I got some guys back there. They have fun. What am I gonna do?
So Asians were like 6% or whatever it was, very low percentage of traffic fatalities. Black, white, Hispanic, all tied.
Wow.
Native Americans coming in hot at like 30 per.
Yeah.
It's per capita of race.
Yeah.
Native Americans are by far the leaders of fucking just dying.
That's
in cars.
sick.
I had no idea.
Well, that makes perfect sense.
You think so?
Number one, they booze hard as fuck.
True.
Most of them are depressed.
Yeah.
Most of them are poor. And they also live on areas where the speed limit's like 90 miles an hour.
That's true.
If they get into any type of accident, that car is fucking exploding every time, dude.
That's true. I feel like they're always driving with like a heavy metal wah-wah behind them, like, wee!
Yeah, dude, Indians love heavy metal.
No, that is true. That like nobody gives a fuck. That's like of all the SJW stuff going on right now. We definitely butt fuck the Native Americans.
The Native Americans,
hardest.
Yeah,
dude.
well,
like insane.
You never see them.
You don't.
I just saw a bunch.
I don't want to see them.
I was just out in the desert.
I'm scared, dude.
When you see them, you remember. You're like, oh shit, my bad, dude.
Well, I don't know because I don't really see them much.
Yeah.
So
you never see them here.
Yeah, but that must be like a real hard, like, oh fuck, dude. Wow.
Yeah. I was in Albuquerque. There was dudes like with literally like they have feathers on their hats. Like I saw dudes with like feathers hanging off their baseball hats.
And they can do like whatever they want, right?
I doubt it.
On the reservation, they can kind of do it.
The reservation, they can get wild.
It's lit on the reservation.
It gets real lit.
Yeah, because you can't like regular cops can't go onto the reservation.
I'd bet that's not true.
I mean, if they fucking want to, they'll do it.
They get scalped.
Yeah, if they want to, they'll do it. But apparently, you're not supposed to. Everything's supposed to go through like they have like a almost like a tribal government, quote unquote. But I mean, if the boys need to get on there, they're going on the fucking res. But apparently, they have to stay off the resi, dude.
Yeah.
They have to stay. I knew a guy who my bus driver in grade school, son, like chilled on an Indian reservation for a while, and he said it was like they like grow weed and shit, and you can do kind of whatever the fuck you want.
You had a bus driver tell you that?
Yeah, bus driver. I was little.
You had a bus driver that told you his son grew weed on an Indian reservation?
He said, well, no.
And you held on to that until right now. Till this moment. You were like, it's time for me to finally break out this fact I've been storing for years, dude. For 20 years.
My bus driver told me his son was dating an Indian chick, a Native American.
Why were you talking to your bus driver?
My bus driver, Charlie, was like my favorite bus driver for sure. But he...
Why were you talking to him?
I used to sit up front and just chill and talk to the bus. He was the man. Because we used to get in trouble on the bus. Me and my cousin used to get kicked up to the front seat all the time.
And then it was just time to talk shop with Charlie.
We were on like a 1 year, me and my cousin got brought up to the front seat and we're put on a full year front seat treatment where we had to sit in the front no matter what.
Yeah.
And I think we had this guy, Charlie, came on and took over for Cheryl, who looks exactly like
Cheryl, dude.
Who looks exactly like the bus driver from South Park.
Miss Crabtree. Right? Crabtree?
Yeah. So this guy, Charlie, like we were like sitting up there talking to him and he was like, yeah, dude, like I think it was like the first or second time like sitting up front with him. He's like, dude, my son just moved to an Indian reservation. This girl has huge tits, dude. This girlfriend I'm talking. He was like, dude, I remember him doing the hand signs. Be like, dude, this
doing the hand signs with tits, taking his hands off the steering wheel with the kids. That's awesome.
There was this big bump on Ivy.
What grade were you in?
I was in probably like 7th by then.
Damn.
I was old enough to appreciate like big fat titties.
Yeah, and you should appreciate that Charlie, the bus driver, was like talking to 7th graders. It's like, yo, my son's girlfriend's fat tits, dude. You